I get it. You didn't have time to play Donkey Kong Bananza, but you probably still want to know what the story's all about. So, let's talk about the story of Donkey Kong Bananza. The game opens with a far shot of our new setting, the Ingot Island. Proof that industrialization does come for us all eventually. But we see countless different chimps mining in the area, and included in this chaos is none other than Donkey Kong, who has a new haircut and wears a hat for some reason. But besides that, there's absolutely nothing different in terms of design, right? Immediately our main goal is established, and we need to eat as many golden banana rocks as possible. So the hunt is on. Some bananas are obviously going to be easier to find than others, but eventually we will get on top of our base of operations on Ingot Island. Once we're there, a giant vortex starts to form, and it steals all of the bananas and all the rocks and consumes, honestly, just everything that's loose on this island. Donkey Kong puts on his bravest face as he tries to resist the pull of the vortex, but he actually gets sucked into the giant mass of dirt. And after feeling like its hunger has been satisfied, that giant dirt pile begins to plow directly into the center of the world, creating a giant hole. Fast forward an unknown amount of time, and we see Donkey Kong breaking free of a giant debris pile, and now he's set to explore Ingot Isle Cave-In. It's a different, reformed version of the island because it just got sucked. Taking in your surroundings, we can quickly find something is off. Well, two somethings. First, there's a taped up plug of sorts that seems to protect this unbreakable purple material, and there's a rock covered in the same tape. Now, this rock is special, mostly because it can talk. And honestly, where a rock can talk, why couldn't the rock also sing? So with a quick tune, the duo learns to destroy tape that protects these naughty little plugs, and it reveals an even deeper hole. Now, jumping into random cavernous holes is going to be something we're going to do a lot in this game, but diving down, we do reconnect with some random chimp that we are surely good friends with, if only there was another chimp Nintendo could have used to send us on our way on our adventure. That's okay. Regardless, we agree to save, or in this case, eat bananas, and then we get a hint that at the top of the mining structure, there is an impenetrable glass barrier with some sort of magic chimp head on it. Rising up, a quick inspection reveals our first bad guy, which we destroy to get a key, which reveals an even bigger hole. And as always, there is going to be no way to go but down, so down we go, chasing our giant dirt pile to get the bananas back. The first stop in our journey is the majestic lagoon lair. We run into some angry chimps who tell us to take it up with the Kong Elder, which honestly means nothing to me yet, but it is a place to start. Unfortunately, the bridge to the Elder was knocked out when a dirt pile flew by. Who could have guessed? So first we gotta deactivate 3 purple plugs across the land to raise the bridge back up. Now I'm gonna spare you the fist throwing details and say that was absolutely no issue, and we eventually did find an incredibly large old ape sitting on a chair jamming to some music. This ape hints at the namesake of the game, a Bananza, which is apparently able to give Donkey Kong some incredible strength. But naturally, before we can get such a power, we need to get a record for our large friend here. So we do, and immediately a giant rave starts. The rock drops the base and breaks free of its shell, revealing a child version of Pauline. Now, I know there's been a little bit of confusion about this game and the timeline and the fact that Cranky Kong technically abducted adult Pauline back in the 1980s. Pauline, as in child Pauline, is going to be a new character. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this Pauline, child Pauline, is going to be the granddaughter or great-granddaughter of adult Pauline. And I bet you, just like everything else in these extended universes, that every child is just magically named the same as their parents. Anyway, we're gonna be on the hunt to prove this throughout, but we'll see what happens. Pauline talks about stage fright for a second before being peer pressured into singing for the crowd of giant apes, which unlocks Donkey Kong's Kong Bananza, or as I will call it, Going Ape. With the power of Going Ape, you are now strong enough to go to the planet's core, which apparently can grant wishes if you end up there. That makes enough sense, and it honestly explains why the giant drill ball is heading towards the core. Honestly, this is not the worst carrot to chase, banana to chase, let's go with that, and it can get Pauline back home, so this is a good direction to go in. It's time to dig. Our digging eventually leads us to catching up with the giant ball of dirt, and on top of it we have 3 visually distinct Kongs. Are they related to us? It's unclear. Anyway, this codger is Void Kong, who is the CEO of the biggest mining organization on the planet. It's a weird flex, but at least now we know we're taking down an enterprise, I guess. But with all of their venture capital money, our first boss battle is against the Pika Bruiser, who gets blown up, and we're able to descend to the next layer and chase the Mega Corporation to make sure they can't get their wish granted at the planet core. The next stop on our list is the Hilltop layer, and to make sure this video respects your time, all that really happens in this layer is we fight some stuff at this Peel Peak, which means we can bribe a construction crew to blow up a piece of stone so that we can go down to the next layer. There we go. Easy. The next layer is the canyon layer, and this is the home of the Banandium refinery, which we need to get to the top of in order to infiltrate. It's then we meet the lovely and aptly named Grumpy Kong for the first time. He's a strong, silent type and is the muscle for Void Kong. And muscle he does, as he summons a giant mech made out of materials that going ape allows us to quickly blow up. Respect where it's due, he clocked out the moment the fight ended and did not want to work overtime to keep us busy, so we get to go on our merry way. So with Grumpy Kong taking his break, we get into the actual refinery, which is having a bit of a spinning problem, which we resolve with violence, which then opens our way to go to the next layer. We continue to chase the Megacorp. So now we enter into the Divide, which is the first time the game feigns giving you a choice at which challenge you want to conquer. You're gonna have to do both paths anyway, so we're gonna start with the forest layer. Now obviously the most striking thing about the forest layer is the giant egg, which is quickly revealed to be the Eggshell Hotel. So we climb over and find an elder ostrich. Now much like our ape friend before, we exchange one ancient record for some sort of crazy power-up. So we fetch an ancient record, start a rave, and learn how to turn into a giant muscular ostrich. Now, honestly, this is genuinely fun though, because now we can fly. And with this power of flight, we can go and chase down the source of some horrid poison that's been mucking our forest layer up. Turns out there's this giant tumor-looking thing beneath the hotel named an abracadabra that we peacefully ask to go away, which allows us to go to the next layer. The next layer we appear on is the junction, but as I teased before, we can't go across the junction until we resolve both sides of the divide. So we gotta go back up, drop down the other side, and then that leads us to the freezer layer. So the freezer layer is responsible for making a bunch of frozen treats, but unfortunately something's gone wrong and now it's far too cold. So we have to investigate that. Our investigation leads us to an old zebra who trades us the muscular zebra form for an ancient record. But hey, now we can run across crumbling bridges and genuinely just go very fast, which is great for ascending this cooling tower to see what's causing it to work overtime. Now it turns out that Poppy Kong did some witchcraft and needs to be taken down a peg. So we track Poppy's invisibility through the snow, chuck some hands, and get a key that lets us peacefully detonate the source of the layer's problems, allowing us to go to the next layer. Because now we have all the banana forms that the game deems necessary, we can cross the bridge in the junction and find that the giant drill is once again stalled out. And where there's a stalled out drill, there is of course the Void Kong, who needs more bananas to get the drill moving again. So we have to chase the Void Kong across a few layers we've already been to, but we ultimately fail to stop his little banana boat, and the drill keeps on moving. But on the way down, it is revealed that Void Kong put Pauline in the rock costume so that she would use her special power to help him. I'm sure this is going to resolve itself peacefully later, but for now we have the resort layer to dig through. The giant dirt pile disrupted the immaculate vibes of our resort layer, and the only way to fix this is to break open a giant watermelon and appease a giant underground elephant colony. Naturally, this means bringing a disc to the elder elephant, but in a change of pace, we actually need to beat the boss a little bit before we start a rave and turn into a muscly elephant thing. And then we use our newfound sucker to throw dirt at the creature and chase it into a stormy station, where we can finally break the mask that's causing it to go berserk and free a rather misunderstood creature. No time to unpack that now, we've got more layers to get through. This layer stinks. There, I got my garbage joke out of the way, and we even get to beat up Grumpy Kong again. It's not the most plot-driven layer, but that's all right. It's time to get on to the next one, the racing layer. Wait, no, is that really? Holy crap, they actually did put Diddy and Dixie Kong into the game. This is wild. And honestly, the pair quickly canonized the events of Donkey Kong Country 2 in this universe and tell Donkey Kong the only way to proceed is to beat them in a race, which is honestly easy enough to do, and we get to befriend a giant snake elder by getting him a disc to rave with. With our snake form, we're now able to jump super high and slow down time for some reason, but hey, whatever works, they had to make this one good, I guess. But hey, slowing down time is a pretty great way to catch the invisible woman trying to kill you. So after we beat Not So Candy Kong twice, she resigns from the company, which is honestly fair. In true wrap up the side characters fashion, we also get to thrash Grumpy Kong one more time, who clocks out after we beat him down, for a giant worm to appear and then eat Pauline. Naturally, Donkey Kong is blamed for the giant worm attack and ends up in an actual prison. But after breaking through a soft floor, we find Poppy Kong, who explains that the Void Kong has brainwashed the worm to abduct Pauline for the plot. So we bust Poppy Kong out so she can help us get Pauline back, which leads us into the groove layer, which is notably not grooving, because their sound system is broken. Now, this is truly a tragedy that only Donkey Kong can fix. But after getting the sound back online, the giant worm appears again, which looks like it's time for another boss fight. Now, arming themselves to fight, both Donkey Kong and me both forgot that the music is kind of the counter to all of Void's technology, which means that the groove layer actually frees the giant eel by having a party. Now, the giant eel does feel pretty bad for attacking earlier, and it says that we can look inside of its stomach to see if Pauline is still there. So that's a thing that we're gonna do. And onwards we go. We dive into the eel and we do find Pauline has been rocked again. So we free her with the power of song and we start to go through the fast food layer. Now this layer is upset because the drill stopped their factory's production of food. So naturally it's on us to go do some themed challenges to rebuild their production line. And a giant burger in the process. That's right, we have to add the bun, 2 patties with cheese, some lettuce, tomato, another 2 patties with cheese, even more lettuce, another couple patties, and another hit of lettuce and tomato, and finally another patty with cheese before clamping it down with the top of a bun. Now I, for one, get lockjaw even looking at this, but at least it is climbable, so we can chase Void Kong towards the planet's core. Now we end up in the forbidden layer. It's forbidden because they can't just let anyone walk up to the planet's core. And do you know what you need to do to prove your worth to the guards to get access to move forward? It's straight up bribery. And it's the most insulting when they ask you for 9,999 gold at once. But whatever, you farm up, you pay your different bribery fees, you break through to find Void Kong sitting smugly by the Banandium root. Or, remember, the grantor of wishes. And in what is honestly a very funny twist, Void Kong pulls a gotcha card and says the quiet part out loud. Pauline cannot sing in this boss fight, because if she does, the root is going to awaken and then Void Kong will get his wish granted. So that means you have to beat Void Kong with nothing but base Donkey Kong. And so you do. But properly defeated, Void Kong gets sad about not having enough money, while Donkey Kong and Pauline go towards the root to get their wish granted. But in one final act of defiance, Void Kong uses his banana phone to brick up Donkey Kong in Void Tape, which now means Pauline has to sing to free Donkey Kong. But in doing so, that will also free the Banandium root for Void Kong. So Pauline does sing, Donkey Kong is freed, and Void Kong goes to claim his prize at the root. Except Void Kong doesn't get a prize at all. As Void Kong gets cast out from the hole, his banana phone lays unclaimed, and a mysterious figure starts to chortle. That's right, baby, it was King K. Rool. King K. Rool was like imprisoned here, so everyone thought that his golden stomach was the Banandium root. But now that he's free, he gets to go down and claim the real Banandium root. And freeing K. Rool also has the consequence of stopping the Kremlin curse. Because all those enemies that we had been fighting all game long that had Kremlin-like skeletons, that was not just an homage. That's because K. Rool had gotten them all cursed. But anyways, it's time to compose ourselves. We beat up some Kremlins and work our way through the final level before coming face to face with K. Rool at the true Banandium root. And I will say, this one looks much more mythical than K. Rool's stomach. So let's put ourselves in K. Rool's mind for a second. You can wish for anything. What do you wish for? That's right, you wish for the power to turn all bananas into rotten mush. This has the consequence of turning K. Rool into a Bananza-themed lizard beast, which we do beat down in a pretty fun boss fight, and claim our Banandium root. Casting our wishes for infinite bananas or for Pauline to go home, we are then thrust upwards towards the planet's surface, and the credits roll. Hey, just kidding, the game is not done. Donkey Kong really has to learn to confirm kills, because K. Rool gets pissed off and uses his jetpack thing to assault Donkey Kong and Pauline as they climb towards the surface. Ducking and dodging proves effective enough as we emerge into New Donk City, Pauline's home. But it's not safe. K. Rool has claimed the root once again and wishes to destroy the entire city. So we have to go through New Donk City using all of our different hulky transformations to fight the golden King K. Rool. And I will be honest, it's rare for a final boss to feel worth it. But this is one of those times. You go through an entertaining final battle with K. Rool, you beat him down, and you send him Team Rocket style flying out of the city. With the day saved and both of their wishes granted, Pauline and Donkey Kong say their final goodbyes because they fundamentally want different things. And now the credits roll for real. Oh my goodness, a double fake out. It's time for the post game, which luckily I can summarize very quickly. Basically, Pauline needs inspiration to write a new song and came to Donkey Kong so that she could be escorted to all the elders to get their input. And I hope you have been collecting enough bananas because your final push requires you to have collected 600 bananas. to access every part of the post-game. But regardless, you go elder to elder, learning nothing about writing, but gifting Pauline the necessary soft skills like confidence, and the vocal skills like breath control. And after completing every elder's rehearsal, it's time for the big one, the big show, down at the planet's core. And what's the big show, you may be asking? Well, naturally, we're gonna go and need to dive into the music worm and complete this game's Champions Road level, which is honestly good fun. It took me some time to figure out, but hey, we complete this final rehearsal, and that gives Pauline the strength to perform at City Hall in New Donk City, and to make her grandmother proud. And I think that's as close to proof as we're probably gonna get that my theory was probably right. So credits roll super for real this time, and that is another game in the books. Let me know if you have anything else you want to see me cover, and I will see you next time.